Chapter 3, Ambushed. The thing about Spud Harper was that he never let anything go. Any time he had a grudge, no matter how small, he'd carry it around for as long as it took to get even. As long as it took. Daniel knew this. Everyone did. He might have escaped Spud once, ducking into the nowhere Emporium, but he'd been looking over his shoulder ever since. Daniel didn't leave St. Catherine's at all over the next few days. Every time he was alone in a corridor or turning a corner in the playground, he expected Spud to jump out at him. It didn't happen. Not that way. Monday went by. Nothing. Then Tuesday. Wednesday was the same. And the longer it dragged on, the more it seemed certain that Spud's revenge would be truly horrible when it arrived. Thursday. The last Thursday of every month at St. Catherine's was fire drill day. It happened right after lunch. You could set your watch by it. When Daniel's class sat down at their desk after the break, their teacher, Mr. Pym, didn't even bother telling them to open their textbooks. Sure enough, a few minutes later, the air was split by the shrill of the alarm, and the class filed out, merging in the main corridor with several other classes. Daniel's stomach sank to somewhere around his knees as he felt someone huge appear at his side. Smitty, the biggest boy in Spud's gang, smiled down at him. "Don't say a word, wee man, or I'll knock you out." He grabbed Daniel by the arms while the teachers were focused on getting the kids outside and bundled him across the corridor to the gym hall. Spud was waiting in the centre of the hall. Smitty dragged Daniel towards him and held him in front of Spud, who struck his freckled face right in front of Daniel's. "I thought I forgot about you, pal," he said. "Thought I was going to let you off with what you did." Daniel said nothing. He stared at Spud, hatred burning in his veins. "Here's what's going to happen," said Spud. "You're going to steal back all the stuff it took me so long to get from the other kids, and if you don't, I'm going to smack you one from every single thing you cost me. That's a lot of punches, Daniel." Daniel stared around the gym hall. The door back to the corridor was blocked by another of Spud's gang playing lookout. No escape that way, but the back door, the one behind the stage. Daniel brought his foot down as hard as he could on top of Smitty's. He heard the big guy howl in pain, felt the grip of his huge arms soften. Daniel managed to squirm away, taking off towards the back of the hall. "Hey, get back here!" Daniel ran up the stairs to the stage. He ducked through the curtain, the sound of Spud's trainers on the boards just behind him, down another set of steps and out to a narrow corridor. "Not this time, Danny boy," yelled Spud. "You're gonna get it." Danny ploughed on, his feet barely touching the floor as he ran to the end of the corridor and burst through a fire exit to the car park at the back of St. Catherine's. Then he was away through the gate to the streets beyond, pushing past office workers who were out making the most of the Glasgow sunshine during their lunch breaks. Daniel glanced over his shoulder, kicked into another gear, and tore through a pedestrian courtyard, through 2 office buildings, firing out the other side like a bullet. "Daniel!" Spud shouted. "Stop! You're gonna get—" The tail of Spud's sentence was cut off by the blast of a car horn, and Daniel realised in one of those strange instances when time seems to slow down that he'd run out onto a road. He heard the screech of tyres, saw the car coming towards him head-on, caught the driver's horrified gaze behind the windscreen. He knew it was too late to stop. He knew he was not fast enough to keep going. There was no doubt in his mind that he was going to die in the street. A flash of silver in the corner of his eye. Someone pressed the play button on the world. Everything screamed back to life before the car could hit him. Something else did, knocking him sideways. He landed heavily and stared up through blurred eyes at the cloudless sky. He was aware of someone standing over him, a person in a grey suit. Whoever it was, they were talking to him, but the voice was very far away. The only thing Daniel wanted to do was go to sleep. The world around him was lost to blackness.